Keep the phone close to the laptop. It's highlighted.
So we will start with the next chapter. Our today's chapter is Laws of Personality Development. That was what I was telling, that the flyer was not having this title. So, will you read as usual? Loudly?
The science of yoga claims that it has discovered the laws which develop this personality and when proper attention to those laws and methods, each one can grow and strengthen his personality. This is one of the great practical things, and this is the secret of all education. This has a universal application in the life of a householder, in the life of a poor, the rich, the man of business, the spiritual man, in everyone's life. It is a great thing, the strengthening of this personality. There are laws, very fine, which are behind the physical laws as we know. That is to say, there are no such realities as a physical world, a mental world, or a spiritual world. Whatever is one. Let us say it is a sort of tapering existence. The thickest part is here. It tapers and becomes finer and finer. The finest is what we call spirit, the grossest, the body. And just as it is here in microcosm, it is exactly the same as macrocosm. The universe of ours is exactly like that. It is a gross external thickness and it tapers into something finer and finer until it becomes God.
So, here Swamiji is telling about the science of yoga that are used to develop this personality. And proper attention to this science and to those laws and methods can help us grow and strengthen our personality. Before going into the general idea of personality, Swamiji is trying to bring our attention to the fact that our personality, as it appears to us, is just one face of our subtler and more real personality. So, the more and more this existence, this personality is refined, and more its upper layers are removed, we enter into the finer and finer, deeper layers. So Swamiji is telling it is as if a tapering existence, that the thickest part is only visible and the finer and finer parts are not visible, but they are behind. And not only they are behind, but they are controlling the uppermost, superficial, and thickest part. So he says that there is something called grossest, that is the body, which we call our personality at present. All of us, whenever we talk about personality of a person, then we generally take for his appearance, his behavior, his gestures, his way of talking. So largely in the world, a personality is understood by way of how you eat, how you walk, how you talk. But there is something which is finer and subtler behind this apparent existence that controls this grossest body, and that is the real personality, which we sometimes miss to understand, fail to understand. So there is something called microcosm that is behind, that is subtle, and there is something that appears to us is macrocosm. And the universe of ours is exactly like it is a gross external thickness and it tapers into something finer and finer until it becomes God. So it is a uniform, indivisible, homogeneous existence. Only thing what happens is suggested here is the appearance becomes more and more subtle as we grow, as we evolve. Our understanding of the personality grows finer and finer to ultimately reach to that Godhead.
We also know that the greatest power is lodged in the fine, not the coarse. We see a man take up a huge weight. We see his muscles sweat, and all over his body we see signs of exertion. And we think the muscles are powerful things. But it is in the thin thread like things, the nerves, which bring power to the muscles. The moment one of these threads is cut off from reaching the muscles, they are not able to work at all. These tiny nerves bring the power from something still finer, and that again, in its turn, bring it from something finer still, thought, and so on. So it is the fine that is really the seat of power.
So this is what is the most important secret and the law of personality development that this chapter title indicates. The law of personality development is, is to focus on that finest thing that controls the grossest things. So if we see that this fan is running here, it is rotating and giving us the air, or these lights are giving us light. So what is it that is controlling this fan? If say suppose I ask you to go and stop this fan, do you go and put your hand into that fan, the blades of this fan, to stop that fan? What do you do? What do you do? Switch off. So you don't, when I ask you to stop the fan from rotating, you don't go and put your hand into that or put some stick to stop the fan from rotating. What you do? You see, say suppose you are a new person in this classroom, and I ask you, so, sir, please stop this fan. So what you do? You don't know how to stop this. So you start searching for the wiring of that fan, where it goes. So you'll start searching for that fan I have to stop. So where from the wire is coming? That you start searching. Then you go on kind of tracing back the source of that wire, where it is going, and there is a switch. Then you see, there is a switch. And then you go to that switch and try to find out the particular switch which controls that fan. And then you switch off that switch, turn off it, so that the fan can be switched off, turned off. So this is the secret in our day-to-day life. We see that to control the gross thing, what we have to do is to control the thing that controls that gross thing. So what controls the fan? So we think fan is so powerful. It gives me good air, nice breeze, nice cool this thing. But it has no power, actually speaking. The wire is having more power than the fan, because wire is conducting the electric current that is supplying the strength for that fan, the blades to rotate, the motor to rotate. Now the wire is so thin, the fan is so big, and it is so massive structure, 3 blades rotating with so much that you will be afraid to put your hand into that. But wire is so thin. The wire nobody is afraid of. So people will many times inadvertently touch the wires, and they will get a shock if that wire is exposed. So this shows that wire is something which otherwise doesn't look like powerful. Outwardly, it doesn't look like something happening there in the wire. But the moment it is exposed wire, the insulation is not there proper, then you will touch it and understand that something is happening there. Something was all the time flowing inside. So this is the thing. And this is the nerve of the fan. The wire is the nerve of the fan. Fan is having the muscles. That blades are as if they are muscles, which are moving the air, which are powerful, but they appear to be more powerful. But the wire is more powerful than those muscles. And more powerful than that wire is what? Is the switch. Switch is what? Just there is a the connection between two wires. If the switch is on, the connection is made. If the switch is turned off, the connection is open. It is broken. So that much control. But that one control decides the fate of this fan. So there is something inside me. If it is on, if it is working, then only my whole system works. My mind works, my nerves works, my body works. So there is some switch which decides whether the power should be delegated or whether the power should be transferred to that particular organ. So this is the secret that we are currently discussing.
Of course, we can see the movements in the gross, but when fine movements take place, we cannot see them. When a gross thing moves, we catch it, and thus we naturally identify the movement with things which are gross. But all the power is really in the fine. We do not see any movement in the fine, perhaps because the movement is so intense that we cannot perceive it. But if by any science, any investigation, we are helped to get hold of these finer forces which are the cause of the expression itself will be under control. There is a little bubble coming from the bottom of a lake. We do not see it coming all the time. We see it only when it bursts on the surface. So we can perceive thoughts only after they develop a great deal or after they have become some actions.
Okay. So here the same principle is explained, that the finer and finer realities are not recognized, not seen, but that are more powerful, that are more intense, and that is why we cannot perceive them. So many times there are hundreds of examples in our life that we can see this, that we don't see something happening, but there is energy working inside. And there are so many such mechanical things. There are so many electrical. There are so many other different ways of looking at things in our life, through which we can understand that how the energy is constantly working, and we don't recognize it. We generally don't acknowledge it. Only when something happens, then we say, "Oh, there is power in it." So when something storm comes, a cyclone comes, a tornado comes, something comes, then we understand, oh, there was air here. So far, I was not at all understanding that there was air. I was moving in this air just casually. But when this air starts moving a little more rapidly, then when the storm comes and every roofs of the houses are torn apart, then we realize, oh my God, so much power was there, latent, hidden, dormant. But just because it manifested, we could realize that there was a power. So, like this. Then this is what here Swamiji is telling, that we cannot even recognize. It is so intense. The finer and finer energies are so intense that it is difficult to recognize them. And people generally take things at their face value, is it not? Generally, we recognize people. Generally, we judge people. Generally, we understand them at their face value, because we cannot understand. We cannot go deeper into the nature of things. We generally, if it is look like this, it is like this. But that is what the beauty of spiritual man is. What is spiritual man? He doesn't get satisfied by looking at the surface. He wants to go deeper. No, wait. He says, wait, let me go deeper. Then there also he says, no, wait, I won't come to a conclusion so quickly. I will go deeper. And he goes on going deeper and deeper as much as possible to his maximum possible extent and to his capacity. And then he makes a conclusion. Okay, this is my capacity. As much as I can go deeper into the things, nature of the personality of people and nature of my own personality, then only I will be satisfied. Unless otherwise, why we are not having faith in ourselves, why we lack confidence, is because always we have been looking at our surface personality. That okay, but no, I am not able to do this particular thing. I cannot play football. I'm not that strong. I cannot play volleyball or basketball. I'm not that tall. I cannot excel in my studies. I cannot be a topper, and so I'm not so brilliant like this. So these are the only surface things. Actually, there are some more subtler things. If we catch hold of them, then we may realize that how to control these surface things. So, person probably, if we will focus on his surface, in his inner reality, inner surfaces or layers, then he may be able to manipulate his outer layer also. A little adjustment he can do in the surface layer, and he can conquer, so to speak, or overcome his external difficulties. We can proceed.
We constantly complain that we have no control over our actions, over our thoughts. But how can we have it? If we can get control over the fine movements, if we can get hold of the thought at the root, before it has become a thought, before it has become an action, then it would be possible for us to control the whole. Now, if there is a method by which we can analyze, investigate, understand, and finally grapple with those finer powers, the finer causes, then alone is it possible to have control over ourselves. And the man who has control over his own mind assuredly will have control over every other mind. That is why purity and morality have been always the object of religion. A pure moral man has control of himself, and all minds are the same, different parts of one mind. He who knows one lump of clay has known all the clay in the universe. He who knows and controls his own mind knows the secret of every mind and has power over every mind.
So, as we see that the Bhagavad Gita also says that Indriyani Paranyahu, Indriyebhya Paramam, Manasastu Parabuddhi, Yo Buddhi Paratastu Saha. So, the same principle is indicated here. That what is it? That what is on the external listing in the Indriyas. What we see objects of the senses and senses. They are the first. Our day-to-day thing is life is only involved in senses and their objects. But that's why they are Indriyani Paranyahu. They are being considered to be superior. They are considered to be powerful. They are considered to be important, dominant. But something is more powerful than Indriyani Paranyahu. But Indriyabhya Paramanaha. But something is more dominant, more powerful than the Indriyas. What is that? Mind. So that mind is considered to be more transcendent, more controlling than this Indriyani. Indriyas means senses. That means my eyes, my hands, objects of senses of perception and senses of action. So these are the Karmendriyas and Jnanendriyas. So like this, these are the powerful. But mind is more powerful because it is behind. And Manasastu Parabuddhi. What is more powerful is Buddhi. So fan is definitely powerful because it is giving me air. Without fan, I cannot stay in this summer. But something is more powerful than the fan is the wire, which is supplying the electric current. What is more powerful than the wire is the electric switch. But without that switch, the wire has no power, no current in it. So, Manasastu Parabuddhi, the switch is the buddhi. What to decide? Nitya Nitya Viveka. That buddhi is doing. And decision making, sankalpa. So, this I will do, something. Decision making is buddhi. So, switch is that. And that Yo buddhe paratastu saha. What is the ultimately final is behind the switch also. If switch is on or off, whatever it is. But just now we saw for 2 seconds power went off. Here all the switch were on, but there still they could not help it. The buddhi had taken some decision, but there was nobody behind it to approve of that decision. There was somebody behind the soul, which is saha, means soul. He was not behind. Then the buddhi may take decision, but there is nobody to approve of that decision. So like that, there is a switch which is already on, but there is no power behind. And that's why if we can control this, then we can now. If you have to control an individual fan, you have to go to the individual switch. If you have to control the entire classroom, then you have to go to the one this thing one switch that is outside the classroom that or here. What we call it? That it trips that MCB switch. That MCB switch is what we do. Generally we go and that MCB will turn off whenever we have to go out. Then, if now the same thing, if we see that the principle is, if we can control one fan, that one switch, that means we will get the control of all the fans. We'll get the secret of all the fans, how to control them. We'll know where the MCB is. So that same thing is that when we know the lump of the clay, we know the whole clay. Because one switch is what is, all the other switches are just the replica of that one switch. So if we know, you know the one switch, the other switches also will know. And then that is what the real power that controls everything. And that is what we are trying to understand, the laws of personality development. Now we will conclude with this last paragraph.
Now, a good deal of our physical evil, we can get rid of it. If we have control over the fine parts, a good many worries we can throw off. If we have control over the fine movements, a good many failures can be averted. If we have control over these fine powers.
So this is what we discussed, that how to control them. That is the main problem all of us face. We are in the same boat. What is that? That how to control this boat. We are all dashing on the waves and we are being tossed and we are always thrown overboard. That how to control ourselves. So this problem, how to solve, is to go deeper and deeper and get the control of that thing which controls this thing, this superficial layer of our personality. So finding out that is the whole crux of the game. What is this? To go into the deeper and deeper layers of our personality, of our body, of our mind, of our intellect, and the soul, finally, or God. So once you realize your soul, self-realization, then what happens? Then you realize you become you know the center of all the minds. You become the center of all the intellects and all the bodies. So that gives you access to all the controls. But first, the beginning is that controlling yourself. So the morality. So what is that? The first step is morality. So what are those niyamas are told to us? What are laws of personality told? So Yoga Sutras tell us niyamas. So ahimsa, satya, asteya, brahmacharya, aparigraha. These are the 5 yamas. Then shaucha, santosha, tapah, swadhyaya, ishwar pranidhana. These are niyamas. Like this, step by step, these Yoga Sutras or the spiritual struggle, the sadhana, takes us into the finer and finer reality. Access, gives us access. The more and more you become morally strong, then slowly, you will get access to your finer and finer existence. What? Mind. First is mind. A moral man, say, just like we say, that a man who is truthful, just for example, one who speaks always truth. He never utters a lie, single lie. What he gets a power after many years of practice of this truthfulness. He gets the power of whatever he says becomes truth. So if he utters something, that becomes true. So this This power, how it came to him? Because he has got access by continuously abiding by the law of this personality development. What is that law? First law, morality. What is that morality? Truthfulness. There are many aspects of it, but one, let us, for example, truthfulness. So just by abiding to truthfulness, a person becomes a kind of representative of truth itself. Whatever he says will become truth. Whatever he thinks will become truth. Actually happen. So why? Because he has continuously caught hold of the truth. He's living with the truth all the time. So that's why the truth will start living with him. He gets access to that truth which is within. And that is what is personality development. Is it not? If a person, whatever he says is becoming true, will you call him a real personality that is developed, or you will call another person who is just having a lot of having articulated speeches and very grammatically he is speaking, very animated way he is speaking. His personality you will call developed, or a person who just a thought or who just a word becomes true. He may not be articulate, he may not be grammatical also. So will you call this person a developed personality or that person? What is your take on this? Who is the real person, so to speak, among these two? Truth. Because as we told, he has more power. You see, the other person may be articulate, may be having grammatical expressions and everything, but he is always telling a lie. Many times he cheats people, and he has no power of controlling the things. He may say something, and that may not even happen. He may say assertively, yes, this will happen, but it may not happen because he has no power over the subtler things. But this man, another man, who outwardly is not articulate, not grammatical, he doesn't know all the flowery language and everything. He may say, just mutter something, but it becomes true. So that man has got access to something deeper. So this personality, these are the two differences of personality, and we have to decide which personality we are trying to develop here. So we'll take some questions now. This will come to it. We'll come to it by step. I just told you yamas and niyamas. So I just detailed kind of laws of personality development. Here there is just a trailer given by Swami. That what is that trailer? That moral man is having more personality development. So what is that moral thing? Is the Yoga Sutras give first these laws. First you have to have some rules you have to follow. What is that? Ahimsa. So non-violence. Non-violence in thought, word and deed. Not even thinking of violence. Not just that not killing people or animals or anything, but not even thinking of. So in that jealousy also comes. Jealousy also is a part of doing violence. Hatred is also part of doing violence. So that level of mental non-violence you have to practice. But you are absolutely not hating anyone. You are absolutely non-jealous about anyone. So that is what is non-jealous. So that gradually practicing these things. First beginning with where we can begin, and then going on in a deeper and deeper way. Then satya, that's why truthfulness. Ahimsa, then satya, truthful. So begin practicing truth. Beginning that whatever we say, let us try to be authentic. Let us try to be as much as possible. We are authentic and we are committed. If I say something to somebody, let me try that I will be abiding by it. That I will be committed to whatever I say. So like this, satya. To begin with word, thought, word, and deed. So this thing on all these three levels, everything I have to start practicing. Wherever I am at this present, I have to start walking from there. Is it not? If I'm standing here and I want to walk from there, start my walking there, it cannot be. I have to walk from here only. So everybody has to first understand where he stands and start walking from there towards the goal. So there is ahimsa, satya, asteya. So non-stealing anybody's in any way, non-stealing anybody's possessions, objects, thoughts, works, anything. So all these kinds of things. Brahmacharya, purity. Practicing purity, continuously trying to practice purity as much as possible, wherever, how much I can every day progress. Let me try. In all these things, we should not take account of failures. We should not much bother about how much setbacks I got, because they are natural things. When you are walking up the mountain, there are so many places that you will get stumble, you will get hurt, but that nonetheless should not prevent you from climbing up the mountain. So that, like this, all these things, brahmacharya means purity, means continuously practicing purity in our thought, word, and deed. Then aparigraha. Then be nowadays they say minimalist attitude. Be a minimalist, not having too much of this thing. Coveting unnecessarily, you want to become a billionaire, but your carbon footprint you are increasing. So now the environmentalists are becoming aware and more all over the world, that a person in his whole lifetime, how much he should consume, so that when he dies, he should not leave a heap of garbage that he has wasted, he has used. So he has whole life he has consumed so many cans of food, so many cans of coke, so many cans of different kinds of things, and after eating a little bit of it, the whole can is thrown away, and that cannot be reused. It has to be recycled by the nature itself. Don't Then what happened thousands of years, that one person for 2 minutes, whatever he consumed, that canned food or canned liquid or whatever drink, that caused kind of millions of years of recycling time duration. So what you created, you just created a heap of garbage. So that is you harmed the environment, you harmed other people, other animals, and now environmentalists are becoming more and more aware. Climate, everything, everybody we know that how it is affecting the climate. So these are the yamas and niyamas. What are the niyamas? Shauch. So cleanliness. You have to practice cleanliness. Now you should be pure by your body. Every day you clean your body. Every day you talk clean things, pure things, healthy things to others. Bhadram karne shunayama deva. Bhadram pashe makshubhir Sthirairangai stushtuvahan sastanubhi. Vishyama devahitam yuraya. So this is what your attitude continuously. Shaucha is that always you are behaving clean and you are doing clean to others. Your behavior, your gestures, your dealings, your interactions, relationships are clean. They are healthy. They are positive. They are encouraging. This is what it says. Then santosh. You are practicing happiness. You are always trying to be happy, irrespective of the circumstances that you are facing, irrespective of the people. Sometimes people you meet are not that giving you happiness. They are in fact reverse, but still you are trying to practice happiness. Okay, nonetheless, I will try to be happy. Santosh, tapa. Then every day you are sacrificing something. You are trying to control yourself. You are trying to let go of some of your enjoyments. You are trying to let go of some of your selfishness. So that is kind of burning yourself. Tapa means what? It's heating yourself up. So whatever you try to control, it heats you, makes you heats your body and heats your mind, so to speak. Why? Because it is going against the current. When you are flowing with the current in the river, your body will not be heated, because you are just the current is carrying you, the river is carrying you. But when you are flowing against the current, then you are very much tired. Your body is overheated. Your heartbeat is pulsating with fastest rate. Like so, this is tapa. It kind of heats you. Swadhyaya. So what continuously refurbishing, refreshing, revising your goal of life, being in touch with the ideal, and continuously reminding ourselves of these wholesome things that are helpful things for my personality development. This is Swadhyaya. And then finally, Ishwar Pranidhana, that surrendering to God, that which is the ultimate reality, that which is the fundamental principle underlying all this. So if I surrender to it, it will help me progress in my personality development. So all these things we will go through. These are just I'm showing the trailer, a demo version, but we will go into the details of it as and when we progress into this book.
Actually, this elaborate on this portion. If we can get hold of thought at the root before it has become thought.
Page number?
Page number 28,
Ah.
The last third sentence.
Oh. We can go there. If we can get control over the fine movements, if we can get hold of thought at the root before it has become thought.
So, what is the status of that thought which becomes thought?
So that's what when I was telling that if somebody is practicing truthfulness, by years and years of practice of truthfulness, what happens? Then what happens? Reverse happens. Now he has got the control of the root of the thought. Thought has not even come, so to speak. Words have not. He just suddenly, if I am the person, imagine this is just fictitious. If I am that person, then even if I mistakenly blurt out something, so to speak, mistakenly, but whatever now it has to happen. That there are innumerable such examples in the world, and they are not miracles, they are not magic, they are the laws of spirituality, they are the laws of this world, subtle world. What is it? That if you are practicing truthfulness, then what happens? You go to the very root of the thought. What is the root of the thought? Satya. Satya is the root, fundamental foundation of everything, because unless something is true, based on truth, it cannot exist. Existence is truth. So when you get hold of that existence, immortal existence, eternal truth, that absolute existence, absolute knowledge, and absolute bliss, that is Satchidananda. The moment you get hold of that Satchidananda, then what? From there everything emanates. From there all the thoughts, words, deeds, then that's what. The first thought and then action. So from there, if the thought is coming, that Satchidananda, one who is established in that, if he thinks something, that thought becomes true because it is now coming out of the Satchidananda. So that is the root of the thought. What is that? That is what they say now, that para pashan. These things we should not get into too much of diversion. Otherwise, we get into too much of jargon and technicalities, and we lose track of the main principle. You see, too much of things also are not very helpful sometimes. It's good for our knowing, but we get too much entangled into this forest of words, so to speak, as the scriptures themselves say. Too many of words and definitions and jargon, and we go on trying to understand things and miss the real crux of it. So, the way it is told that there are 4 levels of speech. So the one from the thought, it becomes idea becomes words, word becomes the actual pronouncing of this. Like this they say, parapashanti, madhyam, vaikhari. So like these 4 types of the shastras say, the traditions say that there are 4 types of vani. These are.
What is there before thought?
That's what I told. That before thought is is the soul. What is that? Indriyani paranyahu, indriyabhya param manah. Manasastu para buddhi. So there is intellect. Buddhi is controlling the thought. And before controlling the buddhi is the soul. The charioteer is sitting, charioteer is controlling, and the master of the chariot, the one who is sitting in the chariot is the soul. For whom the charioteer and the horses and the what you say, the what we call this thing, that reins of the horses. So these are the different organs, different means. So what you are calling thought is nothing but that stage in the middle.
So something will be helpful. So you said thoughts remain the thoughts. It is the intention.
intention is something much more subtler, and something much more subtler than intention is your sense of self. The, so that is where it still starts. Like you have a sense of a limited individuality. You say, okay, like let us say for example, take one thought, right? So you say, okay, like there is a test, there's an exam, and you decide to, let us say like the boy is like he has not studied well, and he says, okay, like somehow I want to hook up, I want to pass, so he takes a wrong decision. So now where does that come from?
So
Right?
it is always qualified with whatever you are
Huh.
practicing.
So that thought is there. So that where does the thought come from? Intention. Right? Now he says, okay, I want to do this. Right? Now where does the intention come from? The intention comes from his sense of self. Right? He has got an idea of a limited individuality. He says, okay, like I'm a limited person and I want to get more, to expand myself. That way I can become bigger. So that is a still more subtle. Now to become more, then I need to do something. So that is how it comes. So ultimately, like the Atma Avidya, like because the wrong idea of your own limited individuality is the core. Right? So from there comes intention to grab, intention to achieve, intention to become happy. Because you think I'm not happy. You think I'm not complete without something. So then there comes. Then comes, okay, now I need to achieve something, I need to grab something, I need to get something. How do you proceed next? Then your next thoughts come. Then finally it gets translated into actions. So as Madras said beautifully, like the fan example, right? So your action is the fan rotating, right? Now that is driven by thought, right? Which is the wire. Then that is driven by the switch, which is your intention. Then that is driven by your MCB, right? Which is your sense of limitedness, like okay, this particular fan. Then if you go even beyond that, then you go to the full power system, like where there is no limitedness, right? So that way, like you can trace back with that analogy.
Goodness. Nicely explained.
That's a very beautiful example.
And the lack of electricity also.
Yeah.
That is also.
So that is the power of consciousness behind, right? Like, and at the MCP level, like it is not only a fan, like there's a fan, there's a light,
There are
there's a
many
AC,
choices.
right? Like so, depending upon the individual appliance, right? The individual temperament of the being, one will give heat, one will give light, one will give cold, right? Same electricity, right? Like so that is the individual people. The same electricity, like in one person it will give heat, another person it will give light, another person it will give cold. Right?
Yes.
Sometimes some lie may help someone. Sometimes some lie may help someone.
Some life.
Some lie.
Lie
Lie. Oh, lie.
may help someone. So is it good or again?
What help someone means in which sense?
It may help someone.
That there are like this. You see, we can go on dissecting this thing, and there can be created 1,000,000,000 situations, and we can go on with this thing. Basic principle we have to understand. What is truth? Is the truth that doesn't harm anybody. That is advised to be practiced.
It should not be harm
It should not harm anybody. That truth should be practiced. What is the test of truth? My truth should not be such that it is at the cost of harming somebody, killing somebody. I am truthful, but I am killing somebody. So that is considered to be not truth, wholesome truth. The truth should be all helpful. So we can ask our Gokul Muthu sir to to share some ideas with
Share
us.
some of his ideas, and we'd like to know because you are one of the founders of BSc, so the previous journey of BSc and some suggestions for us also.
So I hand over this mic to you.
Yeah, maybe.
You want this chair?
No. Are you able to hear me? Short
Okay.
time. Yes. Yeah. So thanks for bringing Vivekananda Study Circle to this exhibition. I remember, like, actually, I passed out of the same department, same classrooms 30 years back, same ESB. Right, like
That's the same.
my lab was just down the corridor.
Wow.
30 years back,
So your
1994.
library's Madras are still there.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and at that time, we didn't have a formal thing, so we used to meet in the rooms of the students. 93, 94, we used to meet informally in the hostel rooms.
And it was officially got established for 1997.
That was 95, 96 sometime when Sharath was there. But 93 only, like actually, like, okay, I'll tell you, like, still more history how BSc was started. So in 91, in 91, so we used to like some. There was 91. There was one professor in aerospace department, Professor E.G. Tulapurkar. Now he had a guru bhai, like who is a monk, and he actually is a disciple of Swami Satyananda Saraswati, Bihar School of Yoga. Like this monk and Professor E.G. Tulapurkara, and in VGKK we have this this Dr. Sudarshan. So they all attended TC together, Dr. Sudarshan and this monk, and then they after TC, like, they decided to part. And Dr. Sudarshan, he decided to start this VGKK. And this monk, he joined Bihar School of Yoga, and they're all Vireshan disciples, Prabhu Maharaj disciples. So he joined this thing, Bihar School of Yoga, and then after, so Swami Satyananda Saraswati, like after some time, he decided to retire and take to full tapasya. And then after, I think some 2-3 years he was there, and after that he gave up his body with the Katimahasana. So when he was leaving the ashram, he gave it to some Niranjananand, and then like he decided to go. At that time, like a lot of people in Bihar School of Yoga, they decided to just split out and carry on. And this monk, he was one of the people like who came out, and then he became a Parivrajaka. And he used to be a Parivrajaka sannyasi roaming around India. And when he came to Chennai, his friend was a professor in IIT Madras, so he was staying in his house. And when he was staying in his house, he used to say, okay, fine, let me conduct some yoga classes in the morning and satsang in the evenings. So the Taramani house is there, like behind Taramani house, there is this one temple, one small Ganesha temple is there. Adiveshwara temple. Like, so there, that is the place where even at that time, RSS Shaka used to happen. Every Sunday they used to have. So in that temple, every day evening after dinner, he used to conduct satsang. So morning we used to have yoga class in OIT. OIT stage is there, like on the stage we used to have class. And evening after dinner, we used to have satsang. So that is how it used to be. So this monk, like, so first thing he came in 91, he came. And he used to spend about 1 week or 10 days he spent here. And then that became kind of a routine. He used to come every year. And so during one of those times, like, so whenever he comes, like, so Professor N.E.C. Swami was the director at that time. And he knew that, okay, we are all associated with the Mutt, and so any book stall used to be there, and any visiting monks like Jaganji had come, and So basically, like we used to arrange some programs and debate competitions and all that, like, and invite monks and all that. So this group started kind of collecting together. So this monk who used to conduct satsangs in the evenings, so he said, like, see, when I am here, I come only once in a year, and when I am here, okay, all you people get together and you discuss. Like, you should continue to do this. Then we said, okay, fine, like we will continue. So then we asked him, okay, what should we read? He said, read gospel. So we started reading gospel, and then after that we started reading complete works. So every weekly once we used to meet after dinner in one of the students' rooms. Like every week it would be different room.
The Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna and then
Gospel and computers both we used to read. Like, so that's what the monk he had recommended. And but he said, like, you start with Tales and Parables of Sri Ramakrishna. You start with that, then gospel, then complete work. So that way, like, we started, and he used to come once in a year and like give a push. And then once this group started forming, then Professor Swami is also there. Like, he used to conduct Gita classes, Karma Yoga classes, like weekly classes he used to conduct. So we used to kind of start attending that. And then there was in Mylapore, there was one person, V. Ramamurthy, one devotee who was a Naistika Brahmachari. And he developed muscular atrophy. Like, basically the muscles start regenerating in the body. Right from this upper arms, like slowly the muscles start regenerating. So looking at, because he knew, okay, his kind of for another 1 year he's going to live and his body is going to degenerate. So he wanted some let's say boys to assist. So at that time, so Tyagananji, he was the Vedantist editor at that time. Like, that time. So he was in touch with us. Like, so he said, like, why don't you boys help him? So then we kind of 10 of us put together one team, and we put together a timetable, and every day one of us used to stay in the night in his house. And slowly we took over his entire house management, like right from switching on the motor to cooking breakfast and everything. And he was a very senior devotee in the ashram, and he used to have
what was his age at the time?
63. So he had Holy Mother's hair and Thakur's nails in his house. Yeah, and because of that, every day bhog has to be given.
Yeah.
So he had arranged a Brahman. Earlier, when he was healthy, he used to do the full Panchaparapita puja, and then he used to do. Then when he became ill, he arranged one Brahmin to do the puja, and then he was not happy with that. So then he said, okay, like fine, like he selected a few of us and gave the Koshipa Shri Krishna book. He trained us to do the puja, and some of us were not Brahmins. So he gave us Gayatri Mantra, he gave us Yagnopavita, and then taught us how to do the puja with all Kosha, Koshi, Diga, Dikshuddhi, Bhushuddhi, everything, and to do puja in his house to Sri Krishna with bhog and everything. So we learned everything from him, like in a very traditional way also. And then after that, when he became too ill, then that was sent to Madurai ashram. Like the relics were sent there because they're not able to maintain it anymore. So basically, like that became the core. Like we used to spend time in his house and do everything, take care of him and puja and everything. And then, so he used to take classes for us also. Like he had a beautiful library in his house, Rajananda Memorial Library, he called like. And he used to teach us gospel. In his house, like there is standard process. Like every day morning there will be this thing, complete works class, and evening there will be gospel class. So even if he and his mother alone is there, just two people sit together. They will read gospel in the evening before having dinner, and morning before breakfast they will read complete works and only breakfast. So we also got into that kind of a process, routine, and all that. And then 96, I think he passed away. So that continued. So that with that core, like it became much more stronger here in the campus. And then through him, we started visiting the Mutt also. That is the time when the temple was being built at that time. It was not completed at that time. It's a new temple. So, and then once he passed away, then Sharat was here. And then he felt that okay, like he's also completing his PhD. So when he leaves, then things can become very not very strong. So he, of course, NUC Swami was there. So he said like, okay, let us get it much more formal before things become too different. And he got it registered and everything. And then so then 96 it was formally registered. But we started in 91 only. We started actually, and also we used to do a lot of social service also. Like this monk who visits us, I remember very well. Like once I went to meet him in professor's house, and it was so I was at the campus for almost 1.5 years at that time, and then I went. So he asked me, so where is IIT located? So I said, like, it is in the southern part of Chennai. It is. Then he said, okay, what is around IIT? So I said, like, okay, south there is this Taramani village is there, and then on the western side, like this Velasiri village is there. Because I knew that amount of geography. So then he asked, okay, who lives in those villages? I said, like, I don't know. I know I've gone there to have tea, but beyond that, I didn't know. Like. Then he said, like, so IIC, like, so you have a lot of mess workers, right? Like, he said, yes, mess workers, gardeners, all the people. So he asked me, like, how much salary do they get every month? I said, I don't know. Then he said, like, where do their children study? I said, I don't know. I know Vanavani is there and then one KV is there. I don't know if these children study there or somewhere else. I don't know. Then he said, like, are these people having at least 2 square meals a day? The best worker, the people who live in Taramani, the people who live in Velasiri. I said, I don't know. Then he said, like, you've been around for 1.5 years. What have you been doing? 1.5 years, you're saying you are on the campus. You don't know where the children of your best workers study. You don't know whether the people living in Taramani and Velasiri are they having food. Now, like, this is not the way you should live. Then I told him, okay, you tell me what I should do. So he said, like, see, you collect some students who are interested, and I will help you to start some social service. Then I said, okay, fine. We collected students. This group of students were there. Then we started a tuition center in Taramani. So in Taramani, like the moment you get out of the campus, if you go take a left and go right, there's a temple there. So in that temple, we started a evening tuition center for children. So every day, like evening, 6 to 5 to 7 or something, like, so that we can come back for dinner. So we used to have a tuition center, so where all the local children used to come. And on Fridays, it used to be just bhajans. So 4 days a week, we used to help the children to do their homework and all that. And then the Friday, some bhajans and then some sweet distribution. So we used to do that as a routine. So we used to started that activity, and then we ran it quite successfully. And then after some time, NSS in the campus came to know of what we are doing there, and then they said, like Professor Gopalakrishnan was there, like he was the NSS coordinator. So then he said, okay, can you become the coordinator? Like, I was in the 4th year. He said, like, you be the coordinator. NSS, we have got a lot of volunteers, like as per the curriculum, and we are looking for work for these people. So can you engage these people? So they, yeah, fine, we can do it. So the NSS volunteers were there, like who we used to ask them also, engage them also in the tuition center work. And then we also used those volunteers to do, we did a lot of greenery in the campus. Like wherever there is some patch of no trees, like we used to plant trees and take care of those trees. Like, so all these things were done by Vietnam Study Center, like, when we were there. Like, so we used to do a lot of, and we had a target, like every month one program, like one speaker will bring from outside every month to give some talk, and then that is how we used to operate. But now it is much more formal, and I think a meeting every week, every Friday you're meeting, right? Like, yeah, that's good. Good. Yeah. So that is how it started. Like, so it was started by Prabhu Maharaj's disciple, but he's a Bihar School of Yoga monk. So now he's in Kedarnath, like Rudraprayag. Near Rudraprayag, he's
still there.
He's still, like, so he lives in a small kutia there. So so he very rarely he comes to Bangalore. Like for him,
He must be now aged.
he must be aged. So yeah, I think he must be around maybe 70, 75 must be. Yeah. And he like Bihar School of Yoga, so they are very good in yoga practices, like so they're quite healthy usually. Like. And so he comes and he has some friends in Kanpur. There's one technical institute, like I forgot the name of the institute, and then like so he comes very rarely. He comes to Bangalore. Like for him, south means Kanpur is the southernmost. He used to come. Beyond Kanpur, he doesn't come that much. So usually like about 10 months in a year, he'll be in full tapasya. 2 months, he will do one round of Parivara Jaga and then he again goes back.
And you left IIT in which year?
94, I left. 94 I left, when I joined IAC. So in IAC there was this Sanskrit Sangha, which is already doing a lot of activities. So just the same activity which we used to hear, like continued under that Sanskrit Sangha umbrella we started. Then after that, that also then now that is running as Prayer Study Circle there also.
And you are conducting it
Yeah.
regularly.
Yes. Every Monday now. Every Monday, 6 to 8, 6:30 to 8:30.
Evening.
Evening hybrid mode.
Oh, happy.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yes.
So do some social service. Easiest thing to run is tuition centers for children.
Actually, we are associated to one village, main village, and our volunteers, Devanjan can explain this better because I newly joined. So Devanjan, can you please talk about the main village activity?
It was before COVID that we are very regular to do activities in the main village. From 2016, with the inspiration of Swami Vivekananda we started. So when we do that, it's mostly a private collective, not adopted during 2020. So we used to go there and do basic computer basic, and then whatever they needed to start doing. And almost about 6 to 7 years we continued following. And it actually had a very good impact because they used to learn a lot of technical things what we knew or something like that. When it went up to that extent that we involved into some entrepreneurship program also, they knew how to reach out and something like that. Went that way. So when this COVID started, we did something, some programming courses and implementation on that. And now, like for last 1.5 years, we are not able to continue that because of maybe lack of volunteers. So this one activity that we have done successfully for last 10 years, in last 10 years. And we have planned to continue further. So that one activity is the
So you can explore. See, IIT will have an employees association for all the support staff, the mess workers, the sweepers. Right? Like, so all of them, because they're all government employees. Right? So everyone, so there will be a employees association. So you can talk to them. And thing is, like, one problem which we used to have when we were studying there was those children, the children of the mess workers, they and the children of the professors, they all go to the same school, Vanamani. Okay. Because they are all government employees, they go. But the problem is the environment in the house for these children are very different. So the employees, the children of the mess workers and these people, they find it very difficult to cope up in the class. So we used to kind of create an environment for those children. So where just get them together and then we will give an environment where they can just sit and do homework. So you don't need to do much. Like create a space where like they can just sit together, do homework, and if they have any questions, they can ask you. Because the environment in their houses, like it's not conducive to learning. That their parents will be there sitting and watching TV, and no one to take care of the children, and no one even asks the children, "Have you done your homework? What did they teach today?" Which happens in the houses of the professors. So when in a class, some children come from a different kind of a house. Now they find it difficult. So you can provide that environment, right? So you can provide an environment where you just say, like, you provide a space for children to sit every day and do homework, where there are some of the students who are there to clear any questions. Just to ask someone, okay, what did they teach today in class? Did you understand everything? Do you have any question? That much, if you are able to support, no, it can go a long way in those children's lives. Very easy to do this. Very easy to provide the support. Right? But it will be a very good impact. and you can do it within the campus only. And you can any department will allow you to will give you space for that. If you say, okay, we are going to run tuition center for the children of these workers, all the departments will be very happy to give you the space. And you can get the children through the employee association, because they have an association for all those non-teaching staff. Right? Through them, you can tell them. They also will be very happy. Do something like I think within the campus only you can do.
This is a good idea. It is very nice. Because then their main problem is the Mayur village is very far away. How many
Yes.
times you will go?
Yeah.
We can go when we want. That is how we
But,
go.
but this idea, you can do all these things here
Yeah.
in a routine way.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Thanks.
Maharaj, there is a question asked in the YouTube channel.
Oh,
so
acha,
will you
acha.
please address
What is that?
these two questions?
Oh, here same thing. No?
Yeah.
Okay, so shall we?
Maruti Prasad T.
Oh,
He
okay.
asked a question.
Okay.
Does personality influence karma? Does personality influence karma and vice versa is applicable? Please elaborate.
Oh, acha, acha. So he's still online. I
Maruti
hope.
Prasad T.
Oh, huh. So we'll just finish this question and then conclude. So here Maruti Prasad is asking that does personality influence karma? So naturally, you see, personality, that is what we are discussing here, that we are discussing the layers of personality and how those layers, the deeper layers of personality affect the surface layers. And naturally, karma is done on all these levels. Karma is affected by all these levels. What karma you do, whether it is good or bad, whether it is helpful, elevating or degrading, is defined by your personality. Naturally, what kind of personality you are having. So, in another way, Swamiji also talks about character. So, these are all similar things: personality and character. So, does personality influence karma? Yes, of course, and vice versa. Applicable? Please elaborate. That is what. So, karma is, that is what, if your personality, if your character is evolved, is developed, then you are going to do a better karma. You are going to do elevating, helpful, pious karma. So, that Bhagavad Gita says, what it says, Urdhvam gachanti sattvastha, madhye tishtanti rajasa, jaganya guna vrittistha, adho gachanti tamasa. So those whose personality is sattvika, that gunas. So sattvika personality, that what is Urdhvam gachanti sattvastha. Those who are established in this sattvika personality, sattvic character, they evolve in a higher and higher realities. And those who are rajasa, madhye tishtanti rajasa, they remain in the middle itself. They don't progress much. They just remain in the same state, so to speak. And adho gachanti tamasa, those who are tamasic, ignorant, lazy. So those people, their personality, their character reflects that their karma is taking them down. So naturally, personality and karma cannot be separated. Character cannot be separated. So I think in this way we can answer this question. And we will naturally discuss many of these things in our forthcoming classes. So I hope we have answered this, and then we can conclude. Anything you want? I will end the stream now.